Now, in the interest of transparency, whenever anybody mentioned Lenovo gaming laptops, I'd always think about Lenovo Legion, right? But recently I found out about the Lenovo LOQ lineup. You know what? The LOQ series was launched in 2023 as Lenovo's sub-brand for anybody who wanted a budget gaming laptop. So let's get this on lock. Get it? Get it? And let's talk about this Lenovo LOQ with Intel Core i5 and the NVIDIA RTX 3050. By the way, this video is made in collaboration with Intel and Lenovo, but all the thoughts, testing and opinions are my own. Alright, if you're here for the first time, I'm Ashad, you're watching Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Now let me tell you a little bit about the specs first of this specific machine that we've tested. It comes with the Intel Core i5 13450HX, which is a 10-core CPU with 16 threads, and you've got 6 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores as well. Now the performance cores are of course clocked at higher speeds, which helps with single-threaded tasks, more demanding single-threaded tasks like gaming. Now the efficiency cores help in multi-threaded workloads like, for example, video editing, and the balance of both is actually very good. Now this hybrid architecture also helps with better battery life, and add to that you've got Intel's dynamic power sharing tech as well. So basically the laptop dynamically distributes power to the CPU or the GPU depending on the workload. Now while the CPU actually supports Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.4, this laptop ships with Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2. Keep that in mind. You also get 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM clocked at 4800 MHz and a 512GB Gen 4 SSD. More on the performance of the SSD later. And now for gaming, of course, we've got the NVIDIA RTX 3050, which operates at 95 watts TDP, and you've got 2560 CUDA cores as well, plus 6 gigs of VRAM, which is a good thing, and I'll tell you how in the performance section. Now on the lid, we've got a 1080p webcam with the physical shutter button that is used to disable and enable the webcam, which is a neat little privacy feature that is present in most Lenovo devices. Now when we tested this lock with the 13450HX, it performed well, not just in daily life, but also in benchmarks. And of course, you've got the NVIDIA RTX 3050, which performs like a 3050, nothing extraordinary. Now before I show you the benchmarks and talk about it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now when we ran Geekbench, we got a single core score of 2223 and a multi-core score of 10271, which is actually pretty impressive for a laptop in this price range. But the OpenCL score was not that impressive, which is actually expected from a 3050. Now when we ran the 3D Mark TimeSpy benchmark, we got a CPU score of 11,614 points. But once again, this device is held back by the GPU a little bit here because the GPU score was 5,827. In Cinebench R24, the results are once again as expected. The CPU performs exceptionally well. Now we also ran Puget benchmarks for Photoshop and Premiere Pro, and the results are pretty good, as you can tell. Now if you're looking for a machine for editing videos, then this one could work, because on a timeline, when you're editing 4K videos, there is no timeline lag, but rendering times could be slightly higher because of the GPU. Now of course, this is a gaming laptop, so we have to run games, and we ran games at the 1080p high preset in most of the games without any upscaling, just to give you an idea of how it performs. In Valorant, we were hovering around 250 to 300 FPS. Then we played Guardians of the Galaxy and the finals, and in both of them we are getting around 100 FPS to 110 FPS. And of course, how can we forget about GTA 5? Here we got around 120 FPS all the time. But just because this laptop comes with 6 gigs of VRAM, you can actually run the game with higher textures instead of medium or low preset, which is a nice thing. And during our testing, we noticed that the CPU was hovering around the 70 to 80 degrees centigrade, and the GPU was at about 80 degrees, which is actually not too bad. Now this is the 2024 variant of the lock that we're testing, and it's actually built pretty solidly. It's pretty sturdy as well, despite using polycarbonate. The laptop's a little bit on the heavier side. It's about 2.4 kilograms in weight, but that's generally true for most gaming laptops. The LOQ branding on the top is also a very nice touch, plus you've got military standard 810H certification too. Lenovo has also implemented a hyper chamber thermal technology to ensure that the laptop remains cool when you're playing games on it, and also the fan noise is not too much. And generally when we were testing the laptop, we did feel the same. It runs cool and it is not very noisy either, which is nice. Now most of the ports are at the back of the laptop, along with the exhaust vent. Firstly, you've got 3 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports, and you've got a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C port, single one. This Type C port supports power delivery at 140 watts, and you've got a DisplayPort support as well. But the charging port is a different one from the Type C port. While you can use the Type C port for charging, you actually do get a different charger in the box. Plus, there's the one HDMI 2.1 port, an Ethernet port, and a headphone microphone jack as well. One thing we noticed when we opened the laptop from the back is that there are 2 SSD slots. So one of it is of course taken up by the 512GB Gen 4 SSD, but the other one is actually empty. And Lenovo says that you can actually upgrade it to 1TB Gen 4 SSDs as well, which I think you should do, primarily because the 512GB Gen 4 SSD inside this doesn't perform like Gen 4 SSDs do. The read-write speeds are slightly lower than what we expect. By the way, I mentioned that you have 16 gigs of RAM inside this. There's one empty slot for RAM as well, so you can add one more 16 gig and make this into a 32 gig laptop. Now, talking about the display, it's actually meant for gaming because you get 144 Hz of refresh rate on this 15.6 1080p panel, which is nice. Of course, it's an IPS panel, so keep that in mind. But there are two things that I appreciate about the display on this laptop is that in this price range, generally you don't get 300 nits of brightness, which is possible on this display. And the good thing is if you're creating content and not just gaming, then it's got 99% of sRGB support and 69% NTSC support as well. Now, apart from the display, I also liked typing on the keyboard. It's got fairly decent key travel and you've got a 4-zone RGB as well. Of course, the gamer stuff is there. Although the trackpad is like a regular Windows laptop trackpad, it's pretty decent and you've got all the Windows gestures, which is a good thing. The speakers on this gaming laptop are just like most gaming laptops in this price range. They sound kind of tinny. They could have had better bass. It's possible, I would say. Now, talking about the battery, you've got a 60 watt-hour battery inside this, which also supports fast charging, by the way. So you get a 170 watt charger inside the box and it charges 40% in 10 minutes, it charges 80% in 30 minutes, and a full charge takes about 61-62 minutes. Now, with respect to the battery life, it's like most gaming laptops out there, you can expect about 2 to 4 hours of battery backup depending on your usage. And since this is a gaming laptop, you'll have to carry the power brick with you at all times. It's a massive unit. But yeah, it needs to be inside your bag. Now, the whole package of the Lenovo LOQ is actually held together by the Lenovo Vantage software. You can use it to control almost everything that you want. For example, performance profiles, RGB lighting, all of that. And along with this machine also comes with Lenovo AI Engine Plus, and which when paired with the Core i5-1350HX actually helps in AI tasks. From using generative fill in Photoshop to adding visual effects in Premiere Pro, we noticed that it actually did work pretty well. You know what, when I was a young student, I always wanted a Windows laptop on which I could game and of course do some light editing as well. I wish this Lenovo LOQ series would have been present at that time because I would have definitely considered it. I would have loved to play sessions of GTA 5 on it for sure. Which is what took me by surprise because this is not just a good gaming laptop, but it's also a decent productivity machine. By the way, the one that we tested is not the top level Lenovo LOQ laptop. You can actually customize it from Lenovo's website itself. So if you want a more flagship grade, gaming experience, you can do that too. If you want to customize one for yourself on the Lenovo website, then there is a special discount code for Trakin Tech English users. It should pop up right now. It's a 3,000 rupee discount code, which is pretty good on most gaming CTUs. Note that this offer is only applicable until September 30th, so quickly go ahead and do that. And in certain locations across India, you do also have a 4-day delivery promise from Lenovo. Also, when you buy one of these laptops, you get 1 year of base warranty and additional accidental protection as well. Alright, that was about the Lenovo LOQ. This is the first time I've tested one of these machines and came away fairly impressed. What do you guys think of the LOQ series? Are there any LOQ users out there? Let me know in the comment section below what your experience has been like. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.